Alright, welcome back to B Miller Reviews, everybody. And today we've got from Figurama Collectors, this is the Hunter x Hunter Netero versus Meruem Elite Fandom diorama. Now this is the first Figurama statue I've reviewed that I haven't had the chance to see previously. So let's get into this guy. We're going to talk sculpt and design, paint, production quality, and we'll find out together whether this is a statue that you need to hunt down for your own personal collection. So let's get into the review next. Alright, so this statue obviously based on the very popular anime series Hunter x Hunter, and normally during this segment I'd give you some background story about the characters, but I'll be honest up front, Hunter x Hunter is not exactly my forte. But I can tell you about the first time I heard about this statue, and it was at Wonder Festival 2018, and myself and a few other collectors were lucky enough to have dinner with Mr. Shinob the night before setup day, and at each Wonder Festival, Figurama has a big statue reveal, which at that time was the Alucard, and coincidentally that statue just being released now as well. And the big license reveal was Hunter x Hunter, and I remember sitting at the dinner table when he told us all about it, and I was just like, yes! What's that? Because, you remember, I grew up in Western Canada, and, when I was a kid, there was no internet, so anime was a very foreign concept. It just wasn't a part of my life, and I was kind of thankful, actually, looking back on it, to be so clueless at that time, because I had a really great conversation with him about this statue in particular, and you could just sense that he's more than a businessman. He is a fan and a collector first and foremost, and the enthusiasm and the pride in his voice was just so noticeable. He was so proud of the fact that Figurama was the first company to get the license to do a resin statue of Hunter x Hunter. And as he's describing the statue to me, this is it. This is the vision. This is what they wanted to do right from the outset. Netero versus Meruem. This is one of his favorite fights in all of anime, and really this fight is much more than just good guy versus bad guy. And there's so much more on the line here as these two guys finally come to clash. So this is the vision from the outset, and as I said, the enthusiasm in his voice got me excited to see what the statue would finally look like. And now that it's here in front of my eyes, does this statue deserve a spot on your shelves? Well, let's start off the review with sculpt and design next. Alright, this diorama here represents what I would say is the penultimate attack from this epic battle. This takes place right after they collapse through the floor into this underground temple, and you can see this collapsing column here behind Netero that kind of represents that environment that they're in. And he's right in the middle of one of his moves called the 99th hand, and during this battle he summons this gigantic golden avatar behind him with this dozens of arms, and he controls them with his own movements. And you can see, the golden hands here sort of mimicking the positioning of his own. So he's right in the middle of this attack, which is, as it kind of implies, a flurry of blows. And it takes everything Meruem has to dodge these attacks. So I think, the hardcore Hunter x Hunter fan is going to resonate with this scene immediately. So sculpt-wise, this piece sculpted by a man named Keita Okada, who has done some work with Figurama before, and Tokyo Ghoul fans will recognize his work. He did parts of the Kaneki vs. Yamori diorama, and he also did the Tuka vs. Tsukiyama diorama, so he's no stranger to the Figurama style. And I think his work has a very unique look about it. It's a very raw, very chiseled appearance about it. And I think for this particular statue, it works quite well, especially on Meruem here. It gives him this very organic look and feel about him. His armor, it looks very chiseled. And all the details on both characters are pretty well spot on. You've got, the cranial armor of Meruem here and the two antennas, flopping down on the sides of his face. Great detailing up the forearms and hands and down the legs. And of course, you got his signature tail with the deadly stinger on the end. His facial details look very consistent with the show as well. Netero looks great. His outfit right out of the scene. His special kung fu outfit with the red logo. And most importantly, his toe socks right here. These are actually quite popular in Japan. My wife bought a pair with a little sushi pattern on them, and she loves them. So great job there. He's got the signature old man, big earlobes, the bushy eyebrows, his top knot. His muscle detail is very, again, very chiseled appearance to it, a very layered look about his muscles. So it's a very unique look for this piece, and I think it works very well. Now, with every Figurama statue, you always get a nice thematic pedestal base. You've got that here with, again, very carved, organic looking feel about it. You've got these symbols along the top edge and a nice ornate detailing around the bottom edge there. So I think the sculpt and design really come together on this statue very nicely. I think Figurama did a great job here. Alright, so before we get into the paint on this statue, you might not notice right away, but I have swapped out the portraits. You get two portraits for Netero. This one, which I was using previously, has his eyes open, and then this one now on the statue has his eyes closed. So you do get a little bit of variety for your display there with those alternate portraits. Alright, let's talk about the paint on this statue, and we'll start off with the pedestal base. A really nice kind of coppery bronze color on the detailing of the statue, and then these middle areas might come across as more of a gray or black. There's actually a little bit of color there, some browns, some greens, again lending to that organic look and feel about this base. Most of the base here below the characters is an explosion of sand, so a lot of tan and beige colors used in there, and they've sprinkled some real sand in there as well, so you do get that nice realistic texture. Another little Easter egg that I didn't show you earlier is this game board in the back. Has a nice wooden feel about it. This is the Gunji board. This is the one game that Meruem was unable to master, so it is significant to the character. And a nice little Easter egg, as I said, in the back. The column here, nice coloring used throughout there. It's not just a simple gray. There's some tan, some brown in there as well, some darker grays and different shading used there. Nice job there. Both characters, I think, look really, really nice. The colors on Meruem, I think, are pretty consistent with the anime. The different shades of green, the purple. His eyes look very well done as well. So I think great job there. We got Netero here. His outfit looks very nice. Nice shading there. Nice skin tones on the character. And you'll notice on his skin he's got little sort of wet spots, kind of beads of sweat, sort of lends to that intensity of the battle. Very nice job there. But I think the standout on this paint job is definitely the golden hands in and around the characters. And I think they used a gold leaf for this part of the statue and then gave it a nice sort of brown weathered feel about it. It looks like a part of some kind of ancient temple or monument. So really, really nice job there. And they've kind of transitioned that gold into a silver here on all these arms, and parts of it are actually even a little bit translucent at the tips of these spikes here. So overall, I think this paint job turned out really, really nice. Alright, let's move on. We're going to talk production and build quality on this statue. So let's look at some of the items you get inside the box. First off, you get the hand-signed, I should add, certificate of authenticity, and you get the assembly manual here. It's got step-by-step instructions for how to assemble the statue, and there's quite a few parts there, so it's always nice to have a little bit of a game plan going into assembly. You also get an art print. So as you can see, it sort of mimics the design of the statue here, so it would be nice to display alongside the piece. Always nice to have extras inside the box. But let's talk about the statue here. And when you first get this piece, you will notice right away it comes in a massive tomb of a shipping box. And you're going to be pretty thankful for that, actually, because it does a really nice job of protecting the statue during transit. Very nicely packaged statue. And, I mentioned has quite a few different parts. I was pretty impressed with how well the parts fit together, how easily they fit together. Only a couple noticeable seams on this whole statue, which is pretty well done. A little one here along the base of this column, and another one along the jawline of Meruem. Other than that, really nothing very noticeable on this statue at all. It is a massive piece. You'll notice that right away. I think right now it's the biggest statue I have in my house. So my recommendation is pick a spot where you want to display it, set it up there, and just leave it there, because this is not a statue that you want to be moving around. That said, though, it is a very, very sturdy feeling piece. You're going to feel like you got your money's worth on this guy because it is a big, heavy statue. So, as expected, this is a really nice quality production from Figurama. Alright, it is time to wrap up this review here of the Hunter x Hunter Elite Fandom diorama from Figurama Collectors. And I mentioned off the top that I'm not exactly a lifelong Hunter x Hunter fan, but sometimes this type of review is a little bit more enjoyable for me to do because I can sit back and look at the statue for what it is rather than what I wish it was. And knowing a little bit about how this statue came to be, I can't help but look at it and just see the passion and dedication that went into it. I mean, you take a memorable scene from the anime, you add on a unique sculpt, you add a fine paint job, and just an incredible production value, and you have a remarkable piece from Figurama. I hope that it lives up to that vision and that dream that Mr. Shinob had. I think it's living up to the dreams of collectors, because not only did this statue sell out 1,200 units in less than a day, it was actually the fastest sellout from Figurama for a time. They're also receiving it around the world right now, and the reaction has just been overwhelmingly positive. And I'm just going to add to that right now. I think it's a fantastic production from Figurama. So there you have it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that review. Stay tuned to the channel, including an announcement coming up soon, which might just include this statue here. So keep an eye out for that, and make sure to subscribe. We'll talk to you guys soon.